Beyond Order by Jordan B. Peterson. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. What a beautiful book. It came out during COVID. It came out right after Jordan Peterson's little overdose debacle, or rather coming off the benzodiazepines, where he had that what's the schizo, something real painful where he could barely move. There was pain everywhere, all over his body. Anyway, it was a very much anticipated book, and I was, I guess, hoping it would be a bit better than 12 Rules for Life, but it was good. It wasn't as good, in my opinion. I feel like he did get a bit preachy with the whole get a wife and have kids sort of thing, which I think is a bit ironic because he's always talking about how authoritarian and tyrannical leaders are like the worst thing in the world, where I get a sense that he's getting a bit authoritarian about, like, okay, you got to work hard, you got to get a job, you got to have responsibility, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to have kids, you got to have a wife, you got to you got to clean the dishes, you got to take up extra responsibilities wherever you can. It's like, whoa, dude, just chill. So I'm going to go through all of the rules one by one, all 12 of them, and kind of debunk some of them and give you a quick summary of the 12 more rules for life, how we can live. So rule number 1, do not carelessly denigrate social institutions or creative achievement. I would go as far to say, do not denigrate anyone or anything. Why stop at social institutions or creative achievement? I think he focuses more on social institutions and creative achievement because those are the things that can influence society a lot. So creative achievement, we want to actually not denigrate that, but I guess focus on that and I guess support and challenge that equally. And I don't want to say support and praise it, because you can't have all praise and all support. So it's an equal balance of supporting and challenging, respecting. Acknowledging is probably the best word. Acknowledge people who are creative, who do have, artists, musicians, content creators, people like that, because they are expressing their true selves with the world. And I think that in order to be creative, in order to be a genius, you really do need to put yourself out there, and it can be very, very challenging. So to acknowledge those people and to help them and to value them and to pay for their services and to respect them, I think is one of the best ways that we can create a sustainable, ever-growing society that is going to be both cooperative and competitive in order to give us all the greatest quality of life and the greatest opportunities. So 100%. Social institutions like schools and churches and cults. Is that a social institution, a cult? When it comes to that sort of thing, it's like, okay, where do we draw the line between denigration and criticism? Because, I mean, I think it's okay to criticize if you're willing to have a go at making it better, if you're offering solutions, if you're not just criticizing or denigrating just for the fun of it, but you're actually coming up with different solutions on how we can run things, then that's fine. How does this apply to your own life? In the book, he uses the example of the dishwasher that's working his way up in a restaurant. Now, the problem with the dishwasher, if he's denigrating his social institution, his business that he's working for, the company, then he's denigrating himself. And when you do something like that and you're denigrating, you're putting something down, you're resenting something that you're still a part of, right? So if you're putting down your girlfriend or your partner, if you're putting down your business, if you're putting down your body, or I mean, your body is a bit more intrinsic, a bit more obvious. But let's just say if you're putting down your business and you're putting down your partner, you're the one going home to the partner. You're the one going into work every day. So that it's not really benefiting you. The only benefit you're getting out of it is that you're going to eventually beat yourself up so much that you fucking quit, or you get a divorce, or you break up, or whatever. So it's being mindful of not putting others down, but being aware of, okay, oh, I'm actually I'm denigrating myself. I don't like where I'm working. I don't like the relationship I'm in. Okay. Then instead of denigrating, taking responsibility of yourself and your own actions and being like, okay, how can I improve myself? Which is what I think the key message from Jordan Peterson is. It's like, hey, let's have some self-awareness here, guys. Let's take some responsibility of our own actions, of our own being, of our own lives, and figure out a way to not put others down or resent ourselves or resent others or put ourselves down, but figure out, okay, what's something we can aim at and shoot towards, and create a plan, create a map, and figure out all of these things. Rule number 2, imagine who you could be and then aim single-mindedly at that. So there's a really cool Instagram graph that I saw. I'll try and find it, but if you could visualize here with me, imagine that you're creating an NBA player on like one of those 2K NBA games, right? So basketball, could be hockey, it could be football, could be fucking ballerina, whatever you want, whatever sport you like. Imagine you're designing your own character. Now, if you go to design your character and you get those little credits, and you have like endurance, speed, power, athleticism, height, weight, you get all these different parameters that you can add your credits to. If you just add all of your credits to like sort of average all of them, 3 for each, you're gonna be an average sort of player. Now, if you put more of your credits into a speciality and you focus more on your speed, then you become a more valuable player, because you now have something that other people don't. You have speed. So a mentor of mine, Pete Tansley, he said, go shallow and deep before you go wide and shallow. Go narrow and deep. So go deep, get a specialty, go deep, but narrow, instead of going wide and shallow. Okay, so remember that. Deep and narrow, not wide and shallow. Little tongue twister for you. And what that does, it builds you momentum and value at one thing. And once you have that momentum, you can then start adding other skills and other characteristics into your repertoire. So if you aim like, I want to be, well, I'm a philosopher, so I'm dedicating myself to researching and writing and teaching and focusing on connecting to my mind, body, and spirit, and integrating all of these things so that I can empower myself and empower others and expand human consciousness throughout the galaxy, right? So in order for me to do that, it's like I've got to aim single-mindedly at my research. So just how much research can I do every single day? How much mindset work and journaling and writing can I do? And it's a single task, and I'm super tasking. I'm not multitasking my reading and my writing and my teaching. I'm super tasking all of it, because it's one goal. It is one goal. When I go to the gym, when I'm running, when I'm swimming, when I'm training my dog, it's all coming back to expanding human consciousness throughout the galaxy, because I'm here to be the master planner of the human race. It's like my one goal, my one mission. So it didn't start like that. It first started out with figuring out, okay, what's my purpose? What's my goal here? What's something that really inspires me? And the first thing that really stood out to me was, what was it? I think it was business. Like 3 years ago, I was focusing more on business. Like that was my goal. Yeah, I'm gonna be a business guy. Yeah, I'm gonna focus a lot on business. So I was putting all my eggs in that business basket, and I was figuring out, okay, how do I get clients? How do I get money? How does the business, operations, how does it all flow? This sort of thing. But then I got burnt out after a while, and I found that the thing I loved most was doing my own mindset work and was doing my own reading. So then my goal shifted, and instead of aiming single-mindedly at my business, now I was focused, well, if I'm going to have a big business, then I've got to have the intellect to back it up. And that's what inspires me. So I shifted. So don't think that when you're aiming single-mindedly, because it might sound like, hey, just pick one thing and just aim single-mindedly at that and just keep going and then don't change. It's like, hey, no, pick what's the most inspiring thing for you right now. Aim single-mindedly at that. At the end of the day, the week, the month, reflect and be like, how much energy does this bring me? How inspired am I? How present am I? How consistent and disciplined am I at taking action towards this one goal? If it's not 100%, then it's perfect, because now you get the opportunity to adjust it. When other things pop up, like other little goals, like a health goal, relationship goal, a business goal, a finance goal, a spiritual goal, when these other goals start popping up, you then link those goals to your one thing that you're single-mindedly focusing at. So that's probably like my favorite rule, TBH, is imagine who you could be and aim. That gives me fucking goosebumps. Whew. Aim single-mindedly at that. Imagine who you could be. Just imagine. Just vision. What's the vision you get when you close your eyes and you think the Mitch Ping, whatever your name is, in 100 years, what impact have I had? What are people saying at my funeral? What is the vision you have for yourself? Well, you're an awesome parent, an awesome dad, an awesome brother, an awesome sister. Were you awesome fucking businessman? Were you awesome finance? Were you awesome health body goals? Were you awesome spiritually connected? Were you awesome with a social message? Whatever it is, what is your vision? Aim single-mindedly at that. It's simple, but it takes courage to take action. Rule 3, don't hide unwanted things in the fog. If you know that there is something wrong and you're just if you're just kind of, oh shit, it's classic in Australia, right? She'll be right, mate. It's like, ew. It's like that Homer Simpson thing where he's like, well, that's future Homer's problem. You're like, I don't know, because there's something called entropy, whereas things are designed to move towards chaos and disorder if they are not focused on and kept structured and organized, okay? So things don't actually just magically fix themselves. I know, right? It's crazy. So if your health is slowly declining, you're eating a bit too much, you should probably go to the gym, your sleep isn't really good, you've been watching too much Netflix and TikTok, like there's things that are going on in your health, and but you're just like, we'll eventually get to it. So JP says that don't hide that shit in the fog. Start writing it down, create a map, figure out why is this going on? What's the plan? What's the goal? Even if it's like bringing it into your awareness and be like, oh, okay, my communication in my relationship is really shit. I'm finding my emotions are bottling up and I'm not seeing them as much as I want. And I can't focus on my work. They're constantly on my mind. Okay, cool. What's a little mini goal that I can do to start progressing myself closer towards something that's more ordered? It is more important to do something very, very small on a daily action rather than just sweeping it under the rug constantly. There's a fucking awesome YouTube video that I'll link down below where this dragon is first found in the cupboard, and the little kid goes to the mum and says, hey mum, there's a dragon, and the mum goes, no, there's not. And then the kid's like, okay. And then the dragon gets a bit bigger. Now it's sleeping in bed with the little girl. And the little girl goes, hey mum, but do you see the dragon? There's like a dragon sleeping with him. Mum goes, no, there's not. There's no dragon. The next day, now it's like as big as her room. And the little kid goes, hey, look, there's a dragon. Anyway, the dragon gets so big that it smashes through the house until the mum finally goes, oh my God, there's a dragon. So it's like, if you have a child that has learning difficulties or social difficulties or whatever it is, and you're looking at the child and go, oh, that's not good. And then you just, oh, whatever. And you just keep going. It's like, that's not just going to fix itself. Same thing applies to you and your own mind. It's like, if your career isn't where you want it to be, then it's not going to automatically fix itself. So it's like, have the courage to look through the fog, to clear the fog up, and look at yourself directly in the mirror. In sterquilinis invenitur, in the filth it is found. The alchemists, the ancient chemists and physicists thought that, well, they intuitively knew that if you look in the shit, in the filth, that's where the process of transformation and individuation and finding meaning and fulfillment, that's where it really begins, because it's that heavy dark cloud that is weighing us down, that's stopping the light from shining through. So if we can penetrate into the darkest fog that is hiding within us and look through it and have the courage to start transforming it, that's where you become the most inspired version of yourself. Jordan Peterson's like, okay, this is one of my favorite things from the book, is like, well, why don't we look through the fog? And the reason he purports is that if we look through the fog and we find out that there is something wrong with us, and that's the reason why we're failing, then we can't blame anyone else but ourselves. It's like 100% responsibility, vulnerability of like, fuck, it's me. Oh my God. And people don't want to own up to it. It's very simple. People are just scared. So that's fine. That's why, if everyone is truly so scared of who they are, only few people shine, then it's telling me that only few people have a big enough reason, a big enough why to actually look within inside themselves and awaken their mind. Something to chew on, eh? Rule number 4, notice that opportunity lurks where responsibility has been abdicated. Okay, so think about in the economy, in the business, if you have a product, like let's say fidget spinners, when the fidget spinners first came out, and they were kind of popular, like, okay, the very first batch has just been made ever, they've just been invented. And it's like, oh, okay, if you're not in the first like 10 big people that start selling them, it's like as a sea of fucking fidget spinners that you can buy. So if there is scarcity, that if there is a supply, if there's a demand for something, then the supply, let me say that again. If there is a demand for something and there is a shortage of supply, there is an opportunity for you to add value. It's the same in a relationship, or same in your friends, or same in your health, or same in, so any area of your life where you feel responsibility has been abdicated, where there's it's not being lived up to its full potential, right? So I think Jordan Peterson talks specifically about if you're an employee working in a business and you notice that the floor, let's say you're the business salesman and the cleaner forgot to take the rubbish out. Okay, responsibility has been abdicated, or maybe it's been overlooked or whatever. So if you're the sales guy that goes up and picks the rubbish and takes it out the back and changes it or whatever, then you've just been given an opportunity. Well, you've taken that opportunity. There's an opportunity was there for everyone, but we get caught up in our little boxes, in our little paradigms, and we go, no, if I'm the salesman, I just sell cars. Or if I'm a dishwasher, all I do is wash dishes. Think of fucking Ratatouille, man. Ratatouille, there was an opportunity there. Ratatouille just slid right in, started making meals, and look at him now, right? So just be like Ratatouille. Rule number 5, do not do what you hate. Why do we do things that we hate? We do things that we hate because we hate ourselves. Hi, my name's Mitch. I've been doing that for almost 26 years. Okay. So the only reason you do something that you hate is because you feel that is the level that you deserve. If you have low self-worth, you're going to give yourself low priority tasks that you're going to end up distracting with because you're intrinsically wired to self sabotage. It's not really sabotage, it's actually redirecting. If you're doing something that is lower than your genuine wealth and your authentic self within inside of you, if you're doing something that's less than, then entropy is going to kick in. You're going to start getting a noisy mind. You're going to start getting bloating and achy. You're going to start questioning your life. You're going to start fucking up your friends. You're going to start slacking off at work. You're going to start spending all your money. All these feedback systems designed to tell you, hey, yeah, you hate what you do. I'm going to make it more sensitive. Now you're going to really, until you put your foot down and go, fuck this. I don't want this. This is bullshit. I'm going to look within inside myself and be like, what? Okay, if I hate this and hate that and hate that, what's something that I think I might like? Let me go try that. Some people die fucking hating themselves and they do shit that they hate their entire lives. Rule 6, abandon ideology. Good old Jordan Peterson and his ideologies. This is, to me, an ideology is somewhat, it is like groupthink. It is the herd mentality. So if I think it's not even, to me, it's not even abandon ideology. It's abandon anyone who tells you this is how it is, including me. So don't even fucking listen. Don't even listen to me. I'm not telling you how it is. I'm not a dictator. I'm not a fascist leader looking to conquer the world. I mean, I'll conquer the world with love and wisdom. That's what I'm here to do. But yeah, I think ideology is like if someone is so shallow-minded to think that they have all the answers, be very, very careful. Be extremely careful because no one has all the answers. No one has the right to tell you what to do and what not to do. This is the whole thing about like, I'm not vaccinated. Fuck that. They can go fuck themselves. And it's not because I'm not scared of needles or I'm scared of like mate, they could, I don't care. I'll drink the fucking vaccine. I couldn't give a fuck about that. The point is the ideology that they're trying to project upon me, be like, we're mandating it. You have to put this in your body. It's like, well, okay, well, what happens next when there's a war? They're going to, that's probably bad. Because what happens again when we get another fucking bird flu coming around? We're going to need more vaccines. What happens if there's some other terrorist threat? Are they going to lock us up again? Like, okay, so yeah, hashtag unvaxxed. Rule number 7, work as hard as you possibly can on at least one thing and see what happens. So if you do rule number 7 and rule number 2 correctly and you align them and you're focused on a vision that inspires you and that you love, you will intrinsically and spontaneously be inspired from within to work hard. The thing about working hard is if you feel like you're working hard, you're probably not doing something that you love. I was talking to Justin Wiseman about this. He said that it's not about working hard. How does he say this? It's not about, feeling like you're working hard. It's about doing the hard work that's fulfilling and rewarding. So there's a difference. It's like I'm forcing myself to do this versus I'm inspired to tackle these challenges and see that, like today, I was so inspired. I was driving home from the gym. I'm like, wow, I've had such a productive day. I don't feel like I'm super happy. I don't feel like I'm super sad. I feel like I've been challenged and supported. I feel focused and I feel so inspired because I wrote a plan that was going to help me get towards and closer to my goals, increase the probability of achieving my goals. I made that plan for today and I ticked it all off. I did it all. So I was like, wow, like this feels amazing. This is what fulfillment is. When you fulfill the voids that you feel are lacking in your life, whatever you feel is lacking, whatever you feel is missing, and you fill that up and you take action towards that, that's where the fulfillment and the empowerment and the purpose and the transcendence and the enlightenment comes from. So it's not really work as hard as you possibly can. It's like, well, if you do that, you kind of burn out, which is kind of the point he's getting at. It's like, hey, what's your limit? Fucking work as hard as you can to find out your limit. I agree with that. But how about we do something that fucking lights us up and we want to jump out of bed and just do it all day, and then like it's just constantly getting ideas, constantly feeling present, constantly wanting to expand. If you're working towards something and your vision is constantly expanding, that's a good sign that it's not something that you love. Rule number 8. Try to make one room in your home as beautiful as possible. The room that you spend the most amount of time in, fill it with things and photos and art and jewelry and decor and water bottle, whatever, ornaments, little treasures, little whatever it is. Fill that room with the most inspiring things that you can think of, things that bring up memories of love, presence, gratitude, wisdom, inspiration, enthusiasm. Anything that brings up those 6 transcendental feelings, you're going to boost your productivity like a motherfucker. When I got the bookshelf in here and I got all my books, and I got a picture of the Afghans, I got a picture of the book with all the greatest philosophers, I've got a Ferrari, I've got my medal here, I've got a map of Australia, I've got photos of all my friends and family and prints and my book cover. It's like you want to look around and just be so inspired everywhere you look. Because what that's going to do, that's going to snap you back into an environment where we're here to have as much love as possible. If love is evolution and love is the reason of life, then why not give ourselves the greatest opportunity to love ourselves and love others and help others find what they love every single day? So it's like, I love that. Make a room as beautiful as possible. And beauty is subjective. So it's like, what you find beautiful, what you love, fucking just do it. It's like, what's the vision you have? And just make it happen. Just slowly. I love how Jordan Peterson in the book, he says he thinks he's got the world record for most eBay pitches ever gone through, because he went through like 10 a day for fucking 5 years, or he did the numbers, and it's like, whoa, he really likes art. So it's like, just, yeah, I like that. Rule number 9, if old memories still upset you, write them down carefully and completely. Great rule. Journaling. Hashtag journaling. Self-authoring is a program that it's like $30. You can go and just Google it, and it takes you through all of the different personality traits, all of tendencies that you might have emotionally, excessively or deficiently, and then you start writing about, okay, when was the time in my life where I had this? So that's one way you can do it, where you kind of journal about your life. And I like that. That was good. Something else you can do is really, okay, what memories upset me the most? What memories upset me the most? What memories make me the happiest? Because you're comparing your present to those past memories, whether we like it or not. All emotion and memory is stored in the subconscious mind. Okay, so everything you've ever perceived, anything that's come in through your senses, is stored in your subconscious mind. If they're unbalanced emotions, and what I mean by that, they're exaggerated or they're minimized, depressed feelings, they are vibrating at a very low frequency, and they're going to weigh you down. That's baggage that's going to weigh you down. Anything that you can see the balance and the love of is going to turn into light, and it's going to enlighten your soul, and it's going to make you feel light. When you have a day where you're super fulfilled and productive and you're inspired and you're loving life, you feel light. You feel like you're an angel graciously dancing in the wind. right? When you're having a horrible day and you're emotional and you're thinking of all the past and the memories and emotions that are weighing you down, you feel heavy and dense and dark and cold and dry and all those sort of things. So if you actually write it down step by step and methodically go through, okay, what actually happened here, and break down all the little bit and just be really objective as you can, be like, did that actually happen? What how would they perceive it? Why did they do that? What did I do in order to cause that? What did I do after that? What benefits did I get out of that? What benefits? That's probably the greatest question you can ask, is what's the benefits did I get out of this quote unquote horrible memory? Because if you feel it's a horrible memory, it's not just going to go away, right? Remember that rule where it's like, don't sweep things under the rug. What was that rule? Let me check my notes here. Don't hide unwanted things in the fog. Oh, look at that. Isn't it cool how the rules join together? So it's like, if you have this horrible thing that's happened to you. Now, I deal with clients who have dealt with loss in their family, horrible moments in their life, um, you know, really depressed, alcohol, all these sorts of things, and I can help transform the client's perception into love and gratitude, because everything happens for a reason. So if you feel something horrible has happened and that's the story you're telling yourself, then that's going to weigh you down, and that's not as empowering as it could be, because you did it for a reason, right? So if you figure out what that reason is and you link it to your greater purpose and why you're here, then something that you thought was once horrible is now amazing. It happens to us all the time. Who thinks that when, can you think of a relationship you got into and at the start of the relationship, you're like, I'm the luckiest person alive. This is amazing. I'm going to spend the rest of my life with them. Wow. And then 10 years later, whatever, you're like, oh my God, that was a fucking horrible mistake. Right. And the opposite happens. Something horrible happens. Like, oh my God, they fired me at work. And then 6 months later, you're like, oh my God, I'm so glad that they fired me. Holy shit. Right. So we all intrinsically know this, but it's the stubbornness and it's the bullshit fucking society that they say, oh, there was a death. Oh my God, that's so sad. That's horrible. Oh my God, that's, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So we're giving away sympathy, and we're getting a connection from swimming in our shit pit and throwing ourselves a little pity party and being sad for ourselves. We're getting benefits out of it. I used to throw absolute massive fucking tantrums as a child and get so emotional because I knew it would get me what I wanted. When I started maturing into an adult and something happened that I didn't like and I started freaking out emotionally, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Why am I getting so emotional? Oh my God, it's a learned behavior. It's trained in me psychologically. It's neurally wired, right? So until I went in and started journaling about these past memories of throwing fucking tantrums and rocking back and forth on the shower floor, until I balanced those out and started writing them down, I, once I did that, it's just gone. It's like, oh, I was doing that for a reason. Oh shit, that actually helped me. Yeah, I can rant about this all day. Let's just move on. Rule number 10. Plan and work diligently to maintain the romance in your relationship. Yep, I would agree with that. I think it's romance. I think he uses the example of sex in the book. Now, I don't think romance technically means sex. I think there's 3 different types of relationships. So I get this from John DeMartini. There is a caring relationship where you care about the other person equally and you care enough about them to communicate what you need in terms of what they need. So if they like shopping and you like working and making money, you like working and making money, they like shopping and spending money, right? Cliche. Then if you communicate, hey babe, I'm working, I know it's a bit annoying and I'm going to make it up to you. So can you hear me out? And she goes, yeah, of course. Okay, so on the weekend, I am going to Paris for work, and I know we're going to be away from you, but what I was thinking is, what if you came, you flew over on Monday, and once I finish work, then we can hang out in Paris together and get a croissant and look at the Eiffel Tower and go do some shopping. How about that? So instead of them being annoyed that you're flying across and working, now she can be like, "Oh my God, I get to fucking hang out with you in Paris. That's cool." Now, that's an example from Martini in his book, The Values Factor. So obviously, it's like we're not all fucking millionaires that can do that kind of thing, but it's the same concept. It's like a caring relationship where you keep the ring on the finger, then you're going to care enough about the other person to think of them. If you are in a careless relationship, you care more about yourself than you do the other person. So you're going to put your needs above theirs. If you're putting your needs above theirs, then you kind of checked out of the relationship, because it's narcissistic, it's self-righteous. You're going to be looking for other people. They're going to get pissed off. It's going to create conflict, all this drama and all this kind of thing. And then the third type of relationship is a careful relationship, where you're walking on eggshells and you're scared to say what you really think. You're scared to ask for what you need. So now they are careless and you're careful. So they're telling you what they need. They're self-righteous and they're narcissistic and they're asking for everything. They're not getting enough and they need this and that and that. And you're like scared to upset them because you're a careful. And you're like, oh my God, I don't want to lose them. You know, it's the three different types of relationships. So figure out, am I being careless? Am I being careful? Am I being caring? Am I caring about them enough to think of what they need and communicate in terms of what I need? Rule number 11, do not allow yourself to become resentful, deceitful, or arrogant. I am going to 100% show you guys this photo if you're watching. This is my favorite. It's like a little demon. Yeah, it's like a little, look at that. It's like an archangel demon, like crouching down. Well, it's not really a demon. It's like an angel with wings in like a barren wasteland with a big rock and dark clouds. And then he's looking down. Like, wow, that's so cool. You have your reasons for being resentful, deceitful, and arrogant. You face or will face terrible, chaotic forces, and you will sometimes be outmatched. Anxiety, doubt, shame, pain, and illness, the agony of consciousness, the soul-shattering pit of grief, dashed dreams and disappointment, the reality of betrayal, subjection to tyranny of social being, and the ignominy of aging unto death. How could you not degenerate and rage and sin and come to hate even hope itself? God, I love his writing. He's great, great fucking author. So pretty self-explanatory. If you allow this is kind of what I was talking about before, is like, do not do what you hate and do not denigrate. If you allow yourself to become resentful and deceitful or arrogant or any sort of emotion that is not gratitude, you're opening yourself up to an even bigger amount of pain and suffering in the world, which was what I was saying before. If you're not focused on aligning your actions with something that you love and something that lights up your soul, then entropy is going to kick in and things are just going to keep getting worse until they get better, until you realize, and to self-sabotage into making your life something that you feel is worth living. Rule number 12, last one. Thanks for hanging in there. You're doing great. Be grateful in spite of your suffering. I think that Viktor Frankl said this best. When you find the meaning in the suffering ceases to exist. meaning is gratitude. Meaning is grace. If the purpose of life is to love and to be present and to enjoy the beauty of this magnificent world, it's graceful. It's a state of grace. It is gratitude. So I think that the rule, be grateful in spite of your suffering, is like, hey, in the suffering, look for the gratitude, is how I would rephrase that. Because horrible things are going to happen. Things that you don't plan, obstacles, challenges, pain, stresses, failures, setbacks, all the things are going to happen. And I think in order to not only accept those things, but to be grateful for those things, is to aim single-mindedly at something that inspires you so much that every day you wake up and you're so grateful for the opportunity to be alive, to smell the air, to have the food, to have technology, to speak to people, to move your body, to expand your brain, to challenge yourself spiritually. All these things, when you're doing something that just lights up your soul, it absolutely radiates from within you to every corner of the world. And that is where you'll be most resilient, most adaptable, and most focused towards love, towards being grateful. So I think if you combine all of the other rules together, you're giving yourself the greatest chance to overcome the suffering, overcome that story you've been telling yourself, overcome those emotions that are weighing you down, and transcend to a more enlightened consciousness where you are grateful. Even, there's horrible things constantly going on all day, every day. If we sit down and all we focus on is the pain and the suffering, we're going to get more pain and suffering. If you focus on something that you love and something that inspires you, you will be more grateful for the opportunities that you get from the suffering. Wow, that suffering made me more resilient. Wow, that suffering made me want to connect more. Wow, that suffering made me more empathetic and emotionally grounded so that I can be not in a rush and be grateful for every single moment that I have. So combine all of the other rules together, give yourself the greatest chance at being grateful for the suffering. Be grateful for the suffering, not in spite of suffering. Be grateful for the suffering, which is a process of asking, what are the benefits of my suffering? What a horrible question. But you're conscious of the positives, you're unconscious of the negatives. You cannot have a positive without a negative. It's like trying to have a one-sided magnet. It's trying to have a world that's always daytime, that's always hot, that's always no wind, that's always calm and cool. Like, could you imagine? That's not reality. We need the contrast. If no one ever died, there'll be no value on life. If no one ever suffered, there'll be no value on good health. So it's like putting things into perspective where you're asking yourself, okay, look, this horrible thing happened where I suffered, Dave suffered, we all suffering, but what is the benefit? What are we getting out of this? Because you wouldn't be doing it. It wouldn't have happened unless you were getting some sort of benefit out of it. The universe has a special way of communicating to us that's going to direct us back towards inspiration, gratitude, love, presence, wisdom, and enthusiasm. So they are the 12 rules beyond order. I'm going to do Maps of Meaning, his third book, which is my favorite, probably next month. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.